Today, I would like to make more like a conversation, not a speaker talk. So feel free to send questions to uh, interact because my main goal here is, like Luis mentioned, is to be able to offer you guys some tips that I saw personally when I was working remotely for a US based startup, and also as an entrepreneur, the things that I would like to see on the people that I hired for my teams. So let's do it. Let me just see here. Okay. So a little bit about me. I don't wanna I don't wanna be like selfish, but just to give you a context, I've been working in remote payments and fintech area since 2015 at least, and during that time, like Luis were saying, I used it to work as a software engineer. So basically in Brazil, on that time, you have to go to a big city like São Paulo or any other major city to have a great job. I was working normally as most of people just do. And then it started a trend that a lot of people were moving to Europe, Ireland especially, to work in person, but abroad. So I saw that as an opportunity, but I didn't want to move out my country to be away of my family. And I was recently married, so for us it was a big deal to just flew out and live in another culture, country, and so on. So on that time, remote working was much more scarce. It was just like if you were a Linux kernel developer or something really specific, and we saw it growing and going for more generic positions. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that as well. So since then, I've been working like almost 3 years for the same remote company, and like I was speaking with Luis, we had some pains to receive the payments from the United States, and that's when we decided to fund Husky and start our own business. So I'm from the countryside of São Paulo state in Brazil. I don't have like a high tier education. I did just normal university in Brazil, computer science, and then later on I got a master degree from a great school in Brazil. But um, my goal here is to say people actually don't care where you went to school or what you did before until you get the skills they actually need. So this is the first insight. So especially when you are interviewing globally or working with people from too many different countries. For example, on my case, I used to work with people from East Europe, like Ukraine, Romanian. Romanians developers are like amazing Russian guys. So on that time, we spoke the same language that was code. Just show me the code, right? So um, that's what we found on that time. And being honest is one of the things that surprised me. So let's go deeper about that. When you just start at a international team, especially if they are fully distributed, like you have people in United States, you have people in Europe, you have people in South America, different time zones, the level of work of professionalism that is expected is much higher than we usually encounter on uh, national companies. Basically, because now communication and being able to transfer your ideas and receive your ideas could become a bottleneck. So, on this context, being able to be effective, being able to communicate clearly, be able to expose your ideas in a way that's more pragmatic than inspirational or ideological or something like that is basically the skill that you need to survive. So for me, that came from, I was just a kid over there, like 20 few years. And for us Brazilians, especially, is really common to have like, we are really warm, we want to make friends with everyone at work and things like that. And my first shock was that, okay, being friends is a bonus, uh, especially for American companies, or at least this is my experience with American leadership. It's just about work. So, okay, we can be friends, we can go to the happy hour after work, but when we are talking here, when we are interacting, they actually don't care. It's more like, okay, uh, more a binary situation. You did or you didn't delivered the goals that probably you were the person who was responsible to set up. So this first exposure was at the beginning like a kind of shock, because I used to compromise myself more than it was expected. So, for example, we had like a huge project, uh, and it was basically supposed to be like at least 3 4 developers, and I was working just with one friend, one other developer on that project. That guy had to go on leave, and when I was asked, can you handle it, do we need to change the timeline to further, I was too optimistic. So like, no, no, yeah, I think we can handle it. We can do more weekends. We can work harder here, more hours. And at the end, we delivered the project, but uh, on cost of blood. So my first things that I wanna share with you guys is that probably your expectations or what you think the company, uh, the environment, your coworkers want from you is probably really different from expectations and the reality you are going to face once you get hired. So, for example, the most common things people think is that, okay, I need to live abroad, or I'm nervous because I don't speak English very well. I never went to another country, so I will stay quiet. I will not speak. Or, for example, to be able to work on that specific cool startup, let's say Brats, or any Coinbase, for example. It's those are companies, Carta, or even other small companies. When you see from outside, they look so huge. Their numbers, their funding rounds, their uh, executive team seems so inaccessible sometimes, that you think, okay, if I don't have like strong connections or be able to present myself to the right person, I will never get that job. That's not true. Being able to get the job and succeed on it, it's more like how you are going to behave and how you are going to set your own goals. So the reality is, especially after COVID, most startups especially doesn't care where you are. So they're going to hire globally. I have a lot of friends that are part of executive teams on US startups, and they see, especially Brazilians and also Argentinians developers, they see them different. They, especially soft engineers or people that work on customer success, project management, those kind of uh, job roles, when they look to South America, especially Brazil, Argentina as well. But this is my own experience, of course, but I see that they're not looking to our workforce as a offshore ship way to deliver more to our company. They know we know our shit. So skills, being able to deliver in a high level quality in a in the same standards that the company would have if they hire locally, is key. Those matter much more than where you actually are. So on my own experience, for example, during those 3 years that I was working and not at my own company, 130 I was in Europe, and did on the second half, like at least 6 months, I was here at the United States. So they actually don't care. They will measure your results, they will measure your deliverables, and your abilities, your skills will matter much more. So and the last point is that uh, communication can always be improved. So it's not about speaking perfectly or uh, understand everything. It's more about how can you express yourself, how can you expose your ideas, how clearly you can share what you are thinking and what you are designing and what you are uh, working to build through that company. So let's move forward here. And when I was thinking about this talk, uh, I I thought about at least these five key points that can be related with your personality, your some people is just have it. So some people, they take problems for themselves. They have the ownership. They have their mindset is different. But everything that we are going to talk here, in my humble opinion, is totally learnable. You can develop these skills. So um, on the other side is, I don't want to be cliche and say, okay, you have to have discipline, you have to be reliable. Everyone says and talk about that. You can just buy a self-help book and it will say the same thing. What I want to give here for you guys is some real examples. Let's say there's a concept, you can Google it, you can search later for any article that approach it. Uh, a lot of people are talking about high agency and low agency individuals. And I think this is one of the best examples to express at least a few uh, values that we are trying to expose here. What most companies, especially startups, expect from every employee, actually not just new hires, but if you are a new hire, you are going to be noted very fast if you have this kind of behavior, is think that you are there to solve problems, not to create more problems. It seems obvious, but let's get a real example. You have on my own experience, we had, for example, one menu editor. Like it's really we were the competition for Canvas on that time, the company that I used to work for, and we had like this old menu editor, the Canvas editor, and we were building the next version of the product. But when you check the data on that time, at least 40% of our customer user base didn't want to really change to the new version of the product. They were used to having their designs and everything on the way they always did. So when we launched the new version, I was the person that was always looking for the old legacy project just because I care. So I used to run like, let me see how many customers are still using it. Let me see how long we are taking our average response time for the interactions the user are doing on this old canvas. Let me continue monitoring the cloud systems and um, servers and everything, and let me grab data to make sure that those customers are still happy and we are not going to lose them. So on in at a specific time, we decide to force the migration to the new system. And because I was like high agency, and at the end of the day, I it's just a matter of, do you care about what you're working on? I was able to bring data and talk to the executive team, our CEO, our CTO, and show them, okay, I think there's some interesting data here that you'd like to see before doing the things you are saying you are going to do. We still have like this number of customers. I did these improvements on these endpoints that were lazily responding, and we still seeing like usage increasement. The usage of that application are increasing during the time. It's not reducing. So backing customers, they don't want to change and use the new application. They are just going there on the older one and doing their stuff, and that's it. So through that, it helped the company to create a better plan to actually offer something to the customer that were better. So on that time, for example, this is one interaction that I remember. It was seen with good eyes. It was like, okay, this guy know his shit. He want to help the company to succeed. So it's really easy to say, okay, have ownership, act as you want uh, what you are working on. But it's not easy to do that during your daily work. So you have to be intentional. You have to spare time, to have on your own calendar time to do this kind of work. So this is where I'd like to go, like, to the next topic here, like what you can say about discipline. For me, it's more like you being able to organize your time to do basically two things. You have to be able to set expectations and deliver on the expectation that you would like to do. So there's a great article from an author called James Clear. It's called Professionals versus Amateurs. And basically, most of the workforce today in the world, they're not real professionals. If you have any sports experience, especially, it's really different when you are, let's say, competing against a professional and just a person who do that as a hobby. For example, I used to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I trained like 3 years with a professional team, people that did that just for a living, and I could do nothing on them because they were like in another level. But we were at the same classes, we were taught by the same teachers. Uh, I just didn't put the time that's necessary, like the amount of training they did in 1 week. I had in hours, dedicated hours, I had to have 1 month at least. So they were 4 or 5x my results. So in the professional corporate ecosystem, it's not different, but it's harder to identify uh, and to expose also that you are this kind of professional that is totally different than the common average person. So the way I found to do that, and I really appreciated on the team members of Husky that had that as well, and I still appreciate that today on Nomad, is kind of obvious, but the people that do and actually deliver what they say they're gonna do. There are people that always come with excuses, and there are people that are able to plan ahead, and if something goes off trail, they will note who is the most affected person or the most affected team in advance. They, let's say, we have an agreement to deliver this project on next Friday, and it's already Tuesday, and I'm seeing we are not going to make it. I have to take a decision, and then I try to replan upfront and not wait until the day that we're supposed to have the release and everything, and say, okay, guys, we could do that. We can do on Monday, and then the person work hard the weekend, and then on Monday it's not ready yet, and they have to give another excuse and so on. It's not about low engagement or not being uh, not being responsible. It's more about how are you able to organize your work and predict your throughput and what you can and your team can actually deliver. So if you have uh, space to do that at your company, and you have this mindset, this behavior to go find problems that no one is caring about, that can be tagged it's not my work, you are going to be noticed. So you are going to be people are going to see your work as someone reliable that they can trust, that they can deliver more challenge, and you always come with consistency results. So I was talking about professional versus amateurs, and gave an example of sports teams. It's really obvious when you look through sports teams, but how can we note that on our team members, on ourselves? So this article that I made, he has some key points, but what caught my attention is that professionals, they have a regular schedule. So they don't care if it's cold or if it's professional athletes, for example. They don't care if it's cold, if it's hot, if they have pain on that day, if they're not feeling well. So uh, at the end of the day, this ability is directly related with their consistency, right? So it's really hard to trust and to give more challenge to a person that oscillate too much. So it's better to operate in a constant, like 80%, 90% of your capacity, than deliver 120 and then you just crash, and then you get out get out of Slack 3 4 days and deliver a huge feature and trying to be always the superhero, it's counterintuitive, but it doesn't bring to companies previsibility. They can't count actually on your work if you do this kind of deliverables. Someday, uh, it's really common to see people that I'm not feeling great today. What does that actually mean? You are not feeling like I was saying. Uh, for Brazilians, for us that came from South America, it, if I say something that to a Brazilian coworker, the first thing they say, what's going on? Can you do you wanna share? Do we need any support? Do If I say that to my last CTO, uh, it will be binary question like, do we need any help? So okay, do your work. Basically, it was this kind of interaction. So um, being able to self-regulate to deliver at a constant pace will matter much more than trying to act as a superhero or the person who um, always save the team at the last time of the day, you know? So uh, it's directly connected with the biggest challenge that we face ourselves. Disabilities that I was talking about, they they run on steroids. On They run in another level when you work remotely. I have to be honest here because if you have like imposter syndrome, it will be 10x at least because you always going to have like you, at least on my case, like a Russian guy that just get away 3 hours and then ship a huge feature that you thought you need at least 1 week to work on. You don't have to get anxious about that. You don't have to think you are less because you are not on the same level or you don't have the same context. The idea that I like to have and to share to people that used to work for me, and I used to have that as well when I was working for other companies, is it's not it is intentional that you are there. We are talking here how to succeed when you are when you're landing at a new job, right? It's not a matter of fate. It's not. There's a reason why you are a member of that team. So you have to trust yourself. You have to trust the hires, the team that evaluated your work, uh, know why you are there. So the best analogy that I really like is like the Ivy Leagues here in the United States or uh, great engineering schools in Brazil. They have like they will kill you. Uh, you're going to die because you're going to study too much if you want to be on one of these universities. Like you are going to take pre-tests and you are going to have extra classes at math, physics, anyway, and then you have this high competition for the same spots, and they going to uh, ask you hard questions, and you feel almost like you are not welcome on on that environment. But once you are there, you are part of them. So at least at American companies, I saw the same pattern. The same pattern is applied because the hiring process is usually longer with more tests, with more interviews, with uh, less cultural fit and more technical deep. But once you are inside, you don't have to keep asking yourself why you're there or if they did the right decision. They did. They did everything that they need to make sure you are the right person. And especially Americans, they are really straightforward. If you are not their person, the kind of professional they are looking for, on the interview, they just cut the interview. Like if it is a 1 hour conversation and 15 minutes, 10 minutes is not going as they expected, they will just, okay, we need to interrupt here. Thank you for your time. And that's all. So uh, have in mind that it's not a fate of the universe that you are there. You earned it. You earned your spot. So communicating in another language, the communication can also be a wall, right? Can be a difficult on your daily interactions. But I think there are something that live at every human brain, that when you start to be exposed to an environment that speak a different language, your brain just click. And in the first 2 weeks of my experience, I was avoiding to say a single word. So I try to communicate mostly by async text and so on. But it wasn't a matter of know how to speak or not. It was more selfish problem. Like I was thinking that I was being evaluated every time. I was being uh, checked, and if my English wasn't really well, or I said something wrong, people gonna judge me. And actually, no one cares. Like I've said, you are there for a reason. So uh, it has trade-offs, right? It works great on this side that no one cares, but it's more a cultural difference, a cultural issue when you compare with Latin, especially. Like we were saying, if you work, especially uh, especially for companies abroad, you can't complain of how people are straightforward, how people are direct, how people give feedbacks, constant. Uh, if you can't separate work issues from personal issues, you are going to suffer basically, because you are going to take all inputs that you are getting from your teammates as personal threats. And it's never about that. It's, for example, when you act on, let's say, Mauricio, when you act on this way, the team is delivering less. It's going to, we are losing our capacity because of this behavior that you're having. Change it. It's it's like, looks like a personal threat. Looks like someone is harassing.
Hey everyone, it looks like we had some issues with Mauricio's connectivity. So while he gets back, let's see if I can answer a couple of the questions that you guys sent here on the chat. So uh, Erget asked if I need to work as a B2B contractor to work remotely from Brazil to a yes company. I wouldn't say like most likely yes. Most times you will be working as a contractor, and it's a similar to what we have here in Brazil. We call PJ. A contractor would be what it is on the US. Oh, and we have Mauricio back. So I'll leave you to where you was. That do you still have like? Can you share a screen and go back to the
Yeah,
same slide?
sorry guys about that. I think I'm using a free tire or something like that of the software, and it just kicked me out. So we are almost finishing here, and I'd like to to open for questions and having just help me, Luis, if I'm going too long. Tell me how much time I still have. So
No, we have until the top of the
okay,
hour.
perfect,
So what I say is like we still have 20 minutes, and you can use that as you like. So if you can finish your presentation, we can do some Q&A. We've been taking notes here,
perfect.
so whenever you want to start Q&A, just let me know. I will pop off. But the minute you like, Luis, come back. Let's do the Q&A. I will pop up
Okay,
back
so
again.
let's do it. Like I was saying, don't take your previous experience and environment and cultural corporate, especially what we have today in Brazilian startups. I've recently when I was to work on 2014, it was more similar uh, when you compare what you have today. So I saw a pendulum, right? We were almost toxic environment, to be honest. Like everything is results. Everything we are going to bankrupt because our round um, is going out, and we need to raise another round and everything. And then money become not a scarce resource anymore. Anyone can raise money, and money. If you say it's a startup, or it's a blockchain startup, or it's AI startup, you have like this pile of money just to work on your idea. And then I see at least in the last 2 years we are going back at least to the middle of this opposite scenario. So uh, I've seen companies, especially with AI, asking more for performance than cultural fits, for example. So being more directly and more straightforward when you have to lead and give feedbacks and develop your team. It's I think we are in an era again that we don't have time to lose, because everything is changing so fast that the companies are trying to cut out everything that could be uh, read as noise and focus on developing their products and deliver value to their customers. I'm not here to judge if it's good or not, but it is what it is. So, uh, one of the last biggest issues and challenge that I found could be operational issues, because right now you have to work and do and behavior and do all these things that we've been talking so far, and now we still have to handle payments, your contract. You have to understand like the contractor agreement. It's really specific. So I used to joke that Americans, if they write something in a napkin and both sign, it's valid. So there's no general laws or rights or anything that you can demand from the company. It's what you both agreed and signed. It's what gonna be what you have, basically. So you have to be able to uh, have what I'm trying to say is that if you don't have an environment support, especially if you are a first time global worker, you can do a lot of mistakes. So I think that's where Strider, companies like Strider, Nomad, Husky, they are here to help you, because they see this challenge and those people suffering with that every day. So you have to have a lawyer, you have to have like an accountant, you have to have a support team, a group of people that will make sure that you are not going to screw up. So, for example, uh, when you are at senior positions, especially on early stage startups, it's really common to receive stock options and uh, compensations that are not just money. if you have no idea of how the system works, what stock options actually means, what value does it have, how much money you can make if the company succeed, it will be just a piece of paper. So having people that understand what you are doing and what you need, because that's the key point. It will be it will ha- things will happen to you that you don't know you need that kind of assistance. So you are going to know just afterwards if you don't prepare yourself first. So be able to be part of a community, platforms like Strider, Husky, and other platforms that serves. Our main goal is to serve you guys. So it's a really great idea, especially if you are a first timer remote worker, because those people that see the same problems every day, they tell you exactly what you have to do. They have like a network of providers, of professionals that can help you succeed. And like we were talking, you're gonna have a lot of troubles and challenge to be a professional. If you have to, at the end of the day, take care of everything and do your accounting and issue your invoice and take care of your investments and everything, you are running too many plates at the same time. You're gonna break something. So uh, I think there's a great opportunity here. We have like platforms borning. You have a growing market. We have companies being founded, and they already born with this mindset that they don't need to hire remotely in San Francisco. Sorry, they don't need to hire in person in San Francisco anymore. So uh, I think be, being really honest is one of the best times to be alive on earth. So uh, I usually try to practice this gratitude, because if you stop to think like 10 minutes the things that happened on your lifetime, uh, it's a great time to be alive. You'll be able to work from Brazil to a company in New York, receiving a stronger currency, being close to your family, your kids, and be able to travel. And if you get sick, now you have antibiotics. You have like 100 years ago, if you have a skin infection, you're gonna die. That's the difference. Your grandfather probably died from a skin infection or throat infection. So it's more of a like philosophical, but what I'm trying to say here is that pay attention. The world is changing, and a lot of opportunities are born. It's no coincidence that Strider was born, for example. There's a demand for that.